Mishpatim is filled with mitzvot, and one of those mitzvot is tzedakah. And when it says you should lend money to the poor, it says if you lend money to the poor. And that's kind of odd. What do you mean if you lend money to the poor? It seems to be as an option. So the commentator Rashi says no. This is one of the three exceptions where the word im doesn't mean if you got a choice, but rather kasher, when you have to lend money to the poor. So the obvious question is, if you have to lend money to the poor, if it's not optional, why does the verse write it with the word im, if, almost seeing as if you have an option, you're not obligated to do it? And the reason why is because the pasuk is trying to tell you the attitude when you are lending money to tzedakah, when you're giving money to the poor. Don't do it because I have to do it. Don't do it because God says, if that's what God says, that's what I'm going to do. Although it's a mitzvah, that's not the ideal attitude. The ideal attitude is, I want to give. I'm not giving because I'm forced to, it's because I desire, I choose to give. There is a story of Rav Bunin of Peshisha. There was an innkeeper who didn't have any guests, and there was a terrible storm, and in came a poor man. And he went to the innkeeper and he said, look, I don't have any money. I can't afford anywhere to stay. I can't afford anything to eat or drink, but you're empty. Is there any way you can look after me? Is there any way I could stay the night? And the innkeeper said, yes, it's empty. You can stay the night. And then the poor man said, I don't know if it's too much to ask, but it's so cold out there. Is there any way that you can pour me a drink? And the innkeeper thought about it. He said, 1 minute. He poured the man a drink, looked at the drink, and then poured the contents into the sink. He then got the glass again, he poured the drink, looked at it, and then poured the contents down the drain. He did it again. He poured again, chucked it down the drain. He did it again a fourth time. He looked at the drink, he smiled, and he said to the poor man, here you go, it's on the house. Why was the innkeeper doing that? What was wrong with the first few drinks? Why are you pouring good quality drink down the drain? Rav Bunin explains that the innkeeper, when he poured the first pint, he was thinking, I don't want to do this. I'm only doing it because I have to. I wish I didn't have to be bothered with this man. He was about to give and he thought, no, that's not the way to do it. I don't want to give that way. If I'm not going to give it properly, I'm not giving it at all. And he poured it down the sink. He tried again and he poured. But as he was pouring, he's thinking, I don't want to do this. Why do I have to? It's a mitzvah. I gotta do it, but I don't want to do it. And he told himself, I'm going to keep on doing this until I pour it out of love. He tried several times until finally he gave the drink out of love. He didn't give because he had to. He gave because he wanted to. And it's an interesting point that before we do mitzvot, there is almost always a bracha. Before washing our hands, al nitilat yadayim, before eating bread, hamotzi lechem min haaretz, before shaking the lulav, al nitilat lulav. What bracha do we make before giving tzedakah? There isn't one. Why? One of the reasons why is because if I say before giving tzedakah, Asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu, that you commanded us to give tzedakah, and this I'm doing because of the commandment, that would be the incorrect motivation. Don't give tzedakah because you have to. Give tzedakah because I want to give tzedakah, because I care about the other person. Be great. Be a giver because you choose to. Shabbat Shalom.